Go ahead and get started tonight. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Pick up where we left off on Sunday. It's a great time to quiz you guys because we just had Sunday. And the message was how to get something out of church. Who remembers how we get something out of church? Come on, food day. Yeah, that's a great one, Tom. Not part of the sermon on Sunday, but I appreciate it. Yes, Anna was correct. Come ready to listen. What's number 2? Sure, pray for everybody that's involved in the service. No points for a quiet right. Be ready to listen. Are we supposed to talk a lot or not? Keep your words few. That's what it says. The NLT may be my favorite version of what that verse says. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you guys have it, but look it up when you get home. But anyway, be ready to listen. Keep your words few. What's the third thing? Worship. I like it. I'll take that as the fourth one. Head of the game, Tom. That's not too bad. Look at you. Number 3, do what you say you're going to do. You made a promise to God, then carry it through. Do it. Do that. So tonight, Solomon goes from the church house, and I put the House of Representatives. That's not really where he went, but a place of government, wherever that was. And he sees something that shouldn't surprise us. Okay, and I'll read it, 8 through, I think 20, the rest of the chapter. Yep. It says, if thou seest the oppression of the poor and the violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all, and the king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand. As he came forth from his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also, to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. All right, so 8 through 9. Well, I guess I'll give you the title. You got it. Godliness with contentment is great gain. So we see the injustice in government. Corruption on every level of government is basically what he's talking about. And the poor man pays the price. And he says, don't be shocked by this. And I don't think anybody would be. X amount of years ago, let's say 4,500 years ago, when Solomon was ruling, it seems that he's describing the very same thing today, right? We're not surprised, and I put House of Representatives, we're not surprised at senators and all these other people who will take advantage of the little man, and it's us who pay the price, right? It's the little people who pay the price. They don't have to worry about gas prices, and they don't have to worry about grocery bills or all this other stuff, but guess who most of the time do? Us. We do. He said, don't be shocked by it. It is said not to excuse it, but to just be realistic about life in a fallen world. And again, it seems the same way. Big government is not for the good of the people, but for the good of politicians. This should not surprise us. In Israel, there seemed to be a lot of bureaucracy. Man, when I was in the Navy, it was horrible. Bureaucracy was the worst thing. It drove you out of the military. So anyway, in Israel here, there were palms that had to be greased all the way up the ladder. So instead of the poor getting the money, everyone on the rung got a cut instead. And verse number 9, it depends on who you read after. It's really hard to decipher what he's talking about, but I'm going to give you what I think he's talking about. Government is meant to benefit society. Even the king takes part in what goes on. So a few dishonest people may profit from corrupt practices, but everybody benefits from organized authority, right? It was created to be a good thing, to be by the people, for the people. It may not end up being that way, but it was created for a good and right purpose. It's meant to benefit society. So the ideal is to have the government that's both honest and efficient, but man's heart being what it is, the temptation for dishonest gain is always there. So that brings us to 10 through 20, and we see the problem with money. Problem with money. And I'm going to give you some of those problems. Number one, it cannot satisfy. No matter how much money some people have, it will never, ever be enough. They asked, does anybody know who John Rockefeller was? First millionaire. First millionaire. He was making, first millionaire? I think so. Million or billion? We'll just go with million. Someone asked him how much money was enough, and his famous line is, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Richest man on the planet said just a little bit more. Can never, ever have enough. Verse number 11, it brings unwanted friends. If you won $1 million in the lottery, how much is the government going to take from you? A third, right? A third, 40%, what'd you say? Yeah, it's a lot. They're going to take a lot. You win $1 million, you still get a lot now, but they're going to get about 400 of it. They're going to get about 400,000 of that money. That's what he's talking about. Brings unwanted friends, people who want to try and take it. It says they increase who eat them, refers in some way to people who consume our wealth. Seems like the more money you get, the more friends you have. People call up from maybe high school that you ain't never heard of. Hey, how's it going? I saw on Facebook that you was lucky the other day. Can I borrow $100? It might be the oppressive government described in 8 through 9, which takes away money. It could be our children, could be dependents, hungry mouths around the table. It might be people who come begging for us to give them something. The freeloaders, hanger-ons. No matter who they are, the more that we have, the more other people try to get it. Verse number 12, it can't give you peace of mind. Can't give you peace of mind. He talks about sleep in this verse. As a general rule, people who work hard all day, especially if they work with their hands, are ready for a good night's sleep. Ready to go to bed, whether they're hungry or whether they're full. When they get full, they're probably not going to make it out of the chair before they go to sleep. But whether they've had a decent supper or else they're so poor they can't they can't eat anything, they're going to go right to sleep. Solomon said that possessing wealth is no guarantee that your nerves will be calm and your sleep sound. According to him, the common laborer sleeps better than the rich man. So the suggestion seems to be that the rich man ate too much and was kept awake all night by an upset stomach. He didn't work all day long, and then he ate too much, and then he's got indigestion all night long. Another story about Rockefeller. It's billionaire. I got it wrote here. First billionaire, world's only billionaire. He earned about $1 million a week. You know, until the age of 53, he lived on crackers and milk. He was sick. He couldn't sleep. He wasn't eating properly. They said it wasn't until he started giving his money away that he started sleeping. And he lived to be 90-something years old. But anyway, one man said it's good to have the things that money can buy, provided you don't lose the things that money can't buy. I think that's pretty good. Another problem with money, verses 13 through 14, it's here today and gone tomorrow. It just goes so quick. A I remember when me and Autumn first got married, and probably some of y'all had your money in this place or not. This place, it was up there in Pickens. Her grandfather had his money up there, and that man stole everybody's money. I'm sure maybe some of y'all had y'all's money up there too. I don't know, or knew somebody. But anyway, he lost his savings that day. I think he might have got a couple $1,000s back out of all that. A lifetime of work, all gone just like that. Takes a long time to get it most of the time, but in just a short amount of time, it goes awful quick. The story he tells here concerns a wealthy man who tried to hoard his wealth, yet lost it all in some risky investment. Today, people lose their money in the stock market. You lose thousands of dollars just in an instant. In those days, they had ships that traveled at sea with stuff. They sunk all the time. Camel trains were attacked in the wilderness. But whatever the reason, this man took a gamble and he ended up destitute as the result. Even worse, he was a father, and now he had nothing to leave his son. Next thing, problem with money. You can't take it with you. This is news, isn't it? Newsflash right here. You can't take it with you. This is how the story of the man who lost the money continues. It says, as he came from his mother's womb, he shall go again, naked as he came, and shall take nothing for his toll that he may carry away in his hand. This is also a grievous evil, it says. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what gain is there to him who tolls for the wind? Does this sound, does anybody recognize these verses from somewhere else? Yeah, parable that Jesus told. What else? Another man that may have lost everything. Yes, Job. I heard somebody going, Job. But I didn't hear the end. I was like, is someone chewing on something? It's Job. Exactly right. Job said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Apostle Paul took the same truth, and he applied it to us all. He said, we brought nothing into the world, and we can't take anything out of it. One day, all our labors will be lost. And this is the reality that every one of us must face, the reality of our death. Martin Luther said this. He says, as I shall forsake my riches when I die, so I forsake them while I am living. So Solomon summarizes in verse 17 reasons not to live for money. He says, moreover, all his days he eats in darkness and much vexation, sickness, and anger. It gives us a picture of where greed leads people. One man said, if anything is worse than the addiction money brings, it is the emptiness it leaves. So 18 through 20, he gives us a God-centered view. He tells us to find our joy in God. So he's given us this balanced, God-centered view here. Just as he's been honest about the vanity of our own existence, so also he wants to tell the truth about finding joy in the everyday things of life, like working, feasting. Whatever enjoyment he finds is God-centered. Without God, life is meaningless, it's miserable, especially if we're living for money. But when we know the God of joy, even money can be a blessing. We notice the source of the enjoyment. It comes from God. Both have things and enjoy things. Both having things and enjoying things are gifts from God. So this insight helps us have a balanced view of our earthly possessions. The world that God created is full of many rich gifts, but the power to enjoy them does not lie in the gifts themselves. This is why it's useless to worship the gifts instead of the giver. The ability to enjoy the wealth, family, friendship, food, work, any other good gift, it comes only from God. A person who finds the greatest enjoyment in life is the one who knows God and has a relationship with Him through Jesus Christ. So he makes this positive point about the joy that God alone can bring to the human heart. When we learn to enjoy God, we experience so much joy that life's short vanity is all but forgotten. So tonight is really all about contentment, not to put our trust in wealth, not to put our trust in those things, but to find our joy and enjoyment in the things of Christ. So I'm going to give you some verses, and you're going to help me decipher them tonight, okay? Luke 12:15. And I'll read it. You can look it up if that will help you. The Bible says, and he said to them, take care, be on your guard against all covetousness, For one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Who wants to decipher that for me? I would take the easy one if I were you. This is it.
Can I read it from the NLT?
Yeah, do it.
Then he said, beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own.
I like it. Is that give me the SV, Sawyer's version. It ain't time yet. Can't word it any better than that. I like it. We can't be covetous, right? We can't desire what someone else has, right? Or maybe what the dealership has or the gun shop, whatever you're into. We can't desire those things because our life does not consist in what we have. Philippians 4:11. This is Paul speaking. He says, not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. Who wants to decipher that one for me? I'll read it again for you. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. What does this tell us about contentment? Huh? That's right. Okay. What else? There's a verb in there. It's pretty important. What had Paul done? That's right. He had to learn to be content. It's not something we're born with. It's not something that is natural to us. It's not natural to me, maybe to you. It's not natural to me. He had to learn to be content. 1 Timothy 6:8, again, Paul. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. Who wants to discern that? Decipher it. Say what? That's right. We don't need much. God has provided that, right? Matthew 6, He's promised to provide those things for us. Hebrews 13:5, it says, keep your life free from the love of money and be content with what you have, for He has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Who wants to help me with that? It didn't say keep your life free from money, right? But don't love it. Keep it free. Why? That's right, because He's the one that's taking care of us, right? He says be content with His provision. Be content with Him. 1 Timothy 6:6 is one of my favorite verses on this. It says, godliness with contentment is great gain. Godliness with contentment is great gain. So contentment is believing that God is the greatest gain, that there's nothing better than Him, that if you don't have Him, you have nothing. You can have everything, not have Him, and you've got nothing. But if you've got nothing and you've got Him, then you've got everything. There's someone who's better than money, so we don't settle for the love of it, but we're satisfied with the love of God. Spiritual contentment is learned, Philippians 4. It's not natural. It is learned in situations that test us, as Paul indicated. When we're brought low, when we abound. Contentment is the ability to be equally satisfied in both situations. How many of y'all have ever been broke before? That you didn't know maybe where your house payment was going to come from, or your car payment, or your electricity bill. If you've been there, were you content? Jenny's the only honest one in here. She's like, no, I wasn't either. I was worried, stressed. I didn't cast my care upon Him and felt like He cared for me. Right? But that's on me. That ain't on Him at all. Prayed about it and God worked things out. I've been there. How many of y'all had so much money that you've never had to worry about that? Or you're just in a good spot right now? Right? I feel like this is my life through the years. Some years, hey, it's great. Some years, man, I don't know if we're going to eat. It'll be 2% milk, won't be whole, that's for sure. We have to be equally satisfied in both, not always craving, wanting more. The appetite for what money can buy is never satisfied, and the only way to curb it is to be content with what God provides. This man, Charles Bridges, said that when our desires are running ahead of our needs, it is better for us to sit down content where we are than where we hope to be in the delusion of our insatiable desires. Rather than always craving more, we are invited to be happy with less because we're satisfied with God. So let me just ask you a few questions. How much do things mean to us? Is it what I work for? Is it what I think about? And God's given us the ability to earn money so that we can be givers and not takers. Right? He makes the comparison between those in the government, the bureaucracy, the poor person getting trampled on. They're getting the money. Their selfishness cannot be satisfied. He's saying that shouldn't be us. We should be givers and not takers. We're to be givers. We're to help others, not to lay up and store earthly things, but eternal things. And material things aren't bad in themselves, but when we work and strive and think only about material things, when we hoard up all that God has blessed us with without thinking about others, it becomes sin. So we have to put material things, money, in its proper place, and not in the place of Christ in our hearts. Let me ask you another question. Is Christ enough for you? Like if you didn't have anything else, like when we didn't have money to pay whatever, and we didn't feel that contentment, that just meant that Christ wasn't enough for us. And I've been there. Whatever the situation, we have to be satisfied. And one of my favorite quotes here says, "My brethren, the reason why you do not have contentment in the things of the world is not that you do not have enough of them. The reason is that they are not things proportional to that immortal soul of yours that is capable of God himself." We were created not to be satisfied with stuff, things, bank account, whatever it may be. We were created to be satisfied by God alone, by him. That's it. So we need to accept and believe that God is the greater than the best gift. Hebrews 13:5. He is all that we need. And then my favorite Warren Wiersbe quote. He says, "If we focus more on the gifts than the giver, we are guilty of idolatry. If we accept his gifts but complain about them, we are guilty of ingratitude. If we hoard his gifts and will not share them with others, we are guilty of indulgence. But if we yield to his will and use what he gives us for his glory, then we can enjoy life and be satisfied." All right, so that's the end of chapter 5 right there. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for loving us and dying for us. Thank you for being our friend. And Lord, I thank you for just being enough. There's been many times in my life where I haven't thought that, where I thought I needed this little bit extra here, or this paid off, or a little bit more money here, or whatever it may have been. But God, you are more than enough to satisfy our every needs. So Lord, teach us to be satisfied in just who you are, what you've done, what you've given. Teach us to be content people, not covetous, but to be content. And we'll thank you and praise you. We love you. Ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.